though. What was pink? Bro. Hey guys, welcome back, and if you're new, I'm Lauren.
And I'm Amanda, and today we are doing our February wrap-up.
I felt like it was a really great month for reading.
It was.
I read more than I thought I was going to, and you stuck with your theme.
I stuck with my pink theme, and not only that, we did our Galentine's 24-hour read-a-thon.
I think that helped.
It did. I should have read more than what I did. I read 3 in that.
I think I barely hit.
And I only read 6 this month.
The first books I'm going to talk about today were actually my favorite of the month. I wanted to get that out already because I just had such a great time reading them, and it was the Daughter of the Pirate King duology by Trisha Levenseller. Originally, I picked them out because I had read one of her books in January and I really liked it. That was nothing compared to this duology. This one was so good. I read Fable, the Fable duology, and I loved it, and I thought this would be similar, and I actually ended up liking it a lot more than Fable. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, but I'm obsessed with the plot, the story, the characters. We follow a pirate captain named Alosa, and she's sent on this mission to retrieve a really ancient treasure map. She allows herself to get captured by the enemy so she can have the opportunity to look through their ship and try to find the map. The only thing standing in her way is the captor. Of course, he's like cute and like witty, of course. But she is the daughter of the Pirate King, so she definitely shouldn't be underestimated. I loved this book. She's such a strong main character. Probably one of the strongest that I've read about, and I absolutely loved that aspect. Found family as always, lots of adventure, betrayal, love, survival. Everything is so good. I highly, highly recommend, especially if you read the Fable duology and you're looking for something similar. I loved this duology. Definitely my favorite of the month. I want the physical copies now though, is the thing.
So first up is Finlay Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. I loved this one. It was really different. It was like a murder mystery, but like comedy and romance in it too.
I like that.
There was like things going on throughout this whole book. If you don't know what it's about a girl named Finlay Donovan, and she's a mom and she's a writer, and she is struggling right now. And she's about to lose custody of her kids because she doesn't have money and stuff. So she ends up meeting with her agent at Panera, and they're talking about her next murder mystery book, and someone overhears them. This girl gives Finlay a paper with her husband's name on it and a big number of cash that she's willing to give her if she can get the job done. So she thinks that Finlay Donovan is a hitman. This girl needs the money, so
she's like, I guess I'm a hitman.
She's either gonna lose her kids,
right,
or to get this done.
Right.
I mean, what are you gonna do? This kind of reminded me of the show Dead to Me with Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini. Friendship. They have a friendship in here that's just like so sweet. Literally your ride or die.
Yeah.
This one is going to become a TV show
with
the director and writer of Pretty Little Liars.
Good Girls.
Good Girls.
It kind of reminds me of Good Girls because they're like housewives, and they do what they need to do in order to like provide for their families.
I loved that show.
No, it was so good.
Rio is so cute.
I'm so upset they canceled that show.
No, okay, anyway, but yeah, it kind of has that vibe. You know, you're a mom, but you also have serious, crazy things going on. I really liked this one. I thought it was unique. I'm really trying to get into like mystery, murder, thrillers right now, so this was definitely one of my favorites that I've read so far.
Surprise, surprise, my next one is another ebook. It was The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. I had read the first book in the duology last month at the end of the month, and I was obsessed. I knew I had to read the sequel as soon as possible, and I honestly think it was like my favorite sequel ever. So good. Such a great addition to the story. Oh my god, that shit was so good. I've been reading a lot of duologies, and it makes me so upset though because I get so attached to the story that I wish it was a whole series. Yeah. And I know that this duology has spin-offs of like other characters, but you know how you just want to read in the same perspectives? Like, I want to know about the people we already met. I don't want to read spin-offs. Am I going to? Probably. But I'm just so sad that this initial story is over with. Since this was the second book, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to give you just a summary of like the first book and overall story. It's basically about a girl named Laura and her 12 sisters. They're all princesses, and they were raised to be trained assassins. Laura's life mission is to marry the enemy, infiltrate their kingdom, and basically devise a plan that she can send back to her father so her people can come invade and rise back to power. It's one of those, I'm sent to kill him, but he kind of cute. But I love that. It's such such a good trope because there's so many eternal feelings, just like a conflict within yourself, you know. So of course she goes over there, she meets him. Things might not go exactly as planned. It's kind of like
forbidden love.
Yeah.
Enemies to lovers.
It's everything. So much adventure, so much action, love, betrayal, deceit. It's just so good. It was such a well-rounded story. It wasn't too much romance. Like, the main plot was the conflict happening, and it just had a little bit side of romance, but that was perfect. It was a perfect balance. I loved it.
But next is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If I'm being honest here, I've been wanting to read Taylor Jenkins Reid books, and I really only picked this one up because it has that pink spine, so I could read it this month. But I went into it blindly. I should have known, it says After I Do, that it was going to be some kind of marriage, broken marriage trope, which I just personally don't care to read about, just because I can't relate to that.
Right.
That's on me.
That's like, there's always pros and cons to going into it blindly.
That's on me. Like, I should have known that. This is about a couple who their marriage is kind of just falling apart, and they decide to take some time apart to see if maybe they can come back and make their marriage stronger and better. This whole book is just trying to tell you that life will go on. The sun isn't going to stop rising. I don't know. Yeah, like, you're just trying to make you feel better. There's a specific audience that would love this book. This was the first book that I annotated too, and I had the pink ones to be for like cute romance scenes. I don't think you can see it, but there's only 3 pink ones in here. Everything else is blue, which is sad, or like orange that made me mad.
But it looks cute though.
It is cute, and it was a good story.
Okay, good.
Super fast paced, super easy to read. The chapters were so short, which I do not know why, but I feel like I go through the book so much faster.
I love it when
the chapters are so short. So I did love that. It was a really simple read.
The first physical copy I'm going to talk about is Kiss the Sky by Kristen Becker Ritchie. You guys know we're currently reading the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series, and this is the first one in the Calloway Sisters. So same story, 3 couples, 6 best friends, all of them are a different trope. I love the characters.
Yeah.
And this was the first time we weren't getting Lily and Lo's perspective.
Which is kind of nice, because I was like ready to get to know the other people.
And I love that the reading order is like intertwined.
Yeah.
So it's like a good break. The timeline fits perfect. So I love that as well. This one was about Rose Calloway. Again, because I love the characters, that pulled me through. I don't love the plot of this specific book. I felt like it was really random, and it was so out of character for a lot of them. So I didn't like the initial plot, but I did love getting Rose and Connor's point of view. I love getting to know them more because we really don't hear a lot about them. I mean, we kind of do, but we don't see like what they're thinking. I love that. I am a huge Connor fan now, which I wasn't expecting.
What? I already felt like I was.
I mean, we knew he was like smart.
They're smarty pants couple.
Man, he's great. The premise of this book was the 6 of them go onto this reality show. I just don't, like, I felt like that was so random, especially with everything that happened in the first 3 books. Like, this felt like it was awful timing. I understand why they did it, I guess, but I just really didn't like that. I don't like reality TV, so I feel like that was a big part of it as well.
I love reality TV.
Right, so you might
I am on like Bravo all day long.
No, I don't even know. So I didn't like the story, but the characters I loved. So overall, a good book. I'm ready to like move on though.
I'm interested in seeing if I'm gonna like that.
Yeah.
Because that's unique. I haven't read a book where they're like on a show. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay, so next is The Roommate by Rosie Dannon. This one was super popular last year all over Bookstagram and Book Talk. If you don't know what it's about a girl who moves across the country, and she thinks that she's gonna move in with her best friend / childhood crush.
Okay.
But he ends up having to do something else, so she moves in with a complete stranger. So she looks him up online, as one would do, and she sees that he's really well known in the adult industry. So that's kind of just like mind-blowing to her already. I did love the concept of this book, but I felt like because it was so hyped, I had really high expectations for this one. I felt like it was missing something. There's so much miscommunication for no reason. He doesn't want to be with me, she doesn't want to be with me, and it's like, look, can we just be together already? I did think it was a solid read, but I didn't think it was worth the hype.
Like, should I read it? Would you recommend it?
I mean, you would probably give it like a 3.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was cute, but it just, I felt
I mean, I give everything a 3.
Yeah.
So that's good.
It's not gonna be like a 4.
The concept is really cool.
I know. I thought I loved
good.
that.
So the next one I'm gonna talk about is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. If you watched our book talk video, is the book talk book worth it? You know I went in on this book, so I'm just gonna kind of briefly go over it one more time. Overall, I really did like the story, but since it was the same thing you said, so overhyped, I went into it with a higher expectation, and it didn't necessarily need it, but the story was so interesting. So it's about 2 kids, Misha and Ryan. In our last video, someone let us know in the comments I was saying this girl's name wrong the whole time.
Well, that's because they spelled it R-Y-E-N.
Yeah, they spelled it dumb, but either way, I'm so bad at names. So I was calling her something completely different.
Is it from the UK?
No. Sorry for mispronouncing her name last time. I know it's Ryan now. My bad. But it's about Misha and Ren, and oh my god, I said it again. It's about 2 kids named Misha and Ryan, and they are paired up as pen pals when they're younger. The next 7 years, they're constantly writing back and forth. They get to know each other. They grow up together. They never meet. They don't know what each other look like, sound like. So when Misha finds Ryan on social media, he immediately knows it's her, but she's completely different than what he thought. So when he ends up transferring to her school, he has the upper hand of knowing exactly who she is, and she has no idea that this man is who she's been talking to for the last 7 years. So very interesting, like, concept.
That's a cool concept.
I loved it. The story had a lot of different aspects I wasn't expecting, so it just kept me very interested. I really liked the plot. The writing level just wasn't there. The writing was kind of cringy at times. It just kind of felt amateur.
I liked how you said it sounded like an adult, what an adult thinks kids sound like.
Exactly. Like, they walked into the room like, oh, cool, man, awesome. Like, it was just really weird. Cringy at times, but unnatural conversations. But if you can get past the writing, it is a solid read. Definitely not worth the hype, though, that I've been seeing it at. But I did enjoy it, so solid read this month.
Next was A Court of Wings and Ruin, the 3rd one in the ACOTAR series. I lost count of the amount of times I cried. There was one point I had to like put the book away because I felt like my tears were gonna ruin this book.
The pages.
Yes, I was like, I need to put this away. Wow. I did love A Court of Mist and Fury a little bit more, but this one was still high up there. I love the Inner Circle family. They just make me so happy. I truly think Sarah J. Maas needs to give us a book of them just like chilling, like happy, living their best life, and I would be happy with that. We deserve to see them be happy.
I guess A Court of Frost and Starlight is kind of like that. It's just not long enough.
I want to see them go to the club.
Well, A Court of Mist and Fury was really focused on like the romance and preparation, and then this one was like the overall battle, like everything was happening.
Everything they've worked for.
Yeah, it was just so epic in that way.
That's probably why I liked A Court of Mist and Fury a little better.
I could talk about ACOTAR all day. The show.
The character development as well for so many characters was just beautiful. Take your petty little moment and then let's get down to what needs to get done.
That's what needs to be happening now in the world. The next one I'm going to talk about is The Project by Courtney Summers. This was the first book I read in our 24-hour reading vlog. This is what I get for going into it blindly. I didn't know anything about this book before going into it, and I definitely think I should have looked at it before. This book is about 2 sisters. Lo is used to being on her own because her parents had died in this awful car crash, and right after that her sister joined this elusive group called the Unity Project. You can kind of put together where this is already going. So desperate to not lose like the only family member she has left. The last 6 years she's been trying to reconnect with her sister. She's been met with radio silence. So she gets this perfect opportunity to gain access to this reclusive life that her sister's been living. And when she gets there, things are definitely not as easy as she thought it was going to be. It's very difficult to find someone who doesn't want to be found. So this book pretty much just revolved around this cult the whole time. I didn't know it was going to be about that, and I honestly didn't mind the plot. It just was very predictable, and that took away from the story, you know? Like, I knew half into this book what was going to happen, and that just kind of sucks. But I mean, it was a decent read. The cover art, I think that's what initially got my attention, is beautiful. Solid read, a little bit predictable, but I mean, I'm not mad I read it. The most solid 3 stars ever. maybe a 2.75.
2.95.
2.99.
Next is Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey. It's about a girl who decides to take over her family's independently owned bookstore business. And then right across the street, this guy opens up a chain bookstore business. So he's like threatening to shut her family's business down. I really love that concept, you know, enemies to lovers. I love the idea of having rival bookstore employees become lovers. I think that's such a cute idea. It was YA though, so there was some cringy, like childish moments. It was a solid read, not my favorite. Nothing crazy happened to make it 4 or 5. It was like a 3.5 for me.
So the next one I read was another ebook, and it was The Sweetest Oblivion. This one had been on my TBR for a long time as well. Should have stayed there. I was so excited going into it because this is everywhere, right?
Yeah, mafia romance.
It was my first mafia romance. I was so excited. I love the idea of a mafia romance. I was just a little disappointed. The writing, again, and I know I keep mentioning the writing. I'm not a writer, right? But like, you know how you can kind of read a story and it's off a little bit. It's just, you can't really get into the story because it's kind of distracting. I don't know. The writing just wasn't all there for me. I had to actually force myself to read the first few chapters because in the beginning I was like, oh, this is not good. I actually did end up really liking the characters, and the overall story was good. It just wasn't as good, I guess, is what I thought it was going to be. So just the overall plot, I think, was basically about like these two mafia bosses. You know how in that kind of world they marry for reasons other than love, I guess, for like connections, for family ties, things like that. There's two sisters, and the older one is supposed to be marrying hot mob boss, I guess, and so they have kind of like an arranged marriage agreement, but the younger sister's a lot more interesting. I don't know if I would read the second one.
I'm actually so happy that you read it because I'd rather you tell me than me, because I'll go and buy the whole series when I'm ready and then read it.
That's the good thing about ebooks too, because they're like a lot less expensive. I don't know if I should continue the series. If you've read it, if anyone's read it and you liked it, or you like recommend the second one, let me know, because I mean, I guess I
think you should.
Yeah, I'd be down to read the second one. I just don't know if I should. It was okay.
Next was The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I DNF'd this one and I feel so bad about it because I know so many people loved it, but I just could not. This was another one that was so popular on Book Talk and Bookstagram last year. I thought it was super overhyped. I could not get through this book. And I think there was multiple reasons why I couldn't get through this book. I felt like the plot was lost somewhere. We started talking about crocheting and selling sweaters, and the brother is in jail but he didn't do it, and I'm just like, holy crap, I don't care. I want to know the story between y'all. If you don't know what the story is, it's basically two people who share a lease and they have never met each other because the guy has to work during the nighttime and this girl works during the day, but they share the same bed. I think that concept is cool, but also her point of view was written kind of normal, like first person, and his point of view was kind of written like a script. And I never really knew when it was that he was speaking or when it was that he was describing something. I'm just gonna get through this, and I don't think I'm gonna pick it up again. Maybe we'll see. And initially, this was the one we were supposed to buddy read, but you read it first. And as soon as you said, like, it's a no, I was like, dang, at least I know now. I'm just tired of buying books that I think are gonna be amazing, and they're just not. They're just average. Well, that goes back to what you were saying. Like, once you know the types of books you like, just, you know, you'll know how to navigate and which ones to pick. But like you said, I have a whole bunch that I know it's probably gonna be 3 stars. So the last book I read this month, I'm actually still currently reading, but hear me out. We're recording this on February 24th, so I have a good like 4 days. Yeah, you got it. I'm gonna finish it, I promise, before February ends, but so good. I picked this up because it's Neil Shusterman's writing. You guys know the Scythe trilogy is my favorite, so I knew I had to get into this series, and I'm loving it so far. The concepts this man comes up with, it's just, I don't understand. He's such a genius. So it's based in a world where there was a second civil war fought over reproductive rights. The kind of crazy twisted resolution was that all life is inviolable until the age of 13. But from the ages of 13 to 18, parents can decide to have their children unwound, which is basically transplanting all of their organs into different donors, so that life technically doesn't end. It's kind of like they get split up, but their life goes on because they're living in someone else. It does sound morbid, but the way that he writes,
Like, he writes about such heavy, deep concepts, but it's so easy to read. So we do follow 3 kids in this book who are supposed to be unwound. They run away in order to try to escape and survive on their own. It gets very interesting. I'm only halfway through and I'm just loving it. I can't wait to see where it goes. I believe it's a 5-book series.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see what's gonna happen. Reading this though, I already know that I'm pretty sure I do like the Scythe trilogy more, just based on writing, story, characters, but I am excited to read the rest of the series.
Last was God Bless This Mess, Hannah Brown's memoir. It was my first memoir and I loved it. She's my favorite bachelorette. She gave a lot of insiders, which I really liked, and I didn't know she had such a traumatic childhood. She did say something that was like, in movies and shows, people will water the ground, the concrete, so that it always looks beautiful with like the lights reflecting off of it. I've noticed in pretty much every single thing I've watched, they do that, which is crazy because now I'm looking for it. But yeah, I thought this was a really good memoir.
So I think that's going to be it for today's wrap up. Overall, we read some pretty great books this month and we're on track on Goodreads.
I am on track.
We're on track for our 2022 reading goals, so that's brilliant. Leave us a comment and let us know what your favorite book was of this month.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you didn't already, please like and subscribe and we will see you guys next time.